On this eve of Christmas Eve, I think we're challenged to call to mind where our focus ought to be over these next couple of days. Certainly we'll all enjoy all the festivities, the get-togethers, the parties, the food, the drink, all that's part of the Christmas holiday. We'll enjoy that very much. At the same time, though, we want to remember that the focus on these days is our God coming into the world. Our God becoming a human being, one like us in all things except for sin. Our God who loved us so much that He sent His Son to walk alongside of us, to show us the way back to God. In our gospel reading today, we hear that great story of Zechariah and Elizabeth when it comes to naming their child on the 8th day after his birth. Had their focus been strictly on themselves, probably would have said, his name should be Zechariah. But their focus wasn't there. Their focus was on God Himself and what God wanted the child to be called. And the child's name was to be John, meaning God has shown His favor. St. John Cantius, whose feast we celebrate today, also was a man who lived with his focus on God rather than himself. He was a very brilliant man, a university professor, who was very popular among his fellow faculty, at least most of them, and his students. But there was a group of faculty who were jealous of this popularity, and they raised some charges against him. Later proved to be false, but at the time caused him to be removed from his position at the university and sent to a small town that had the reputation of being a place where priests with problems were simply dumped. He met great resistance when he went to this town, but again, he kept his focus on God and not on himself. He didn't focus on any shame or any resentment he may have felt towards his fellow faculty members for these trumped-up charges, but instead put himself wholeheartedly into the work of being a good parish priest. Because of their experiences from the past, he met a lot of resistance from the people. People figured, well, this is just one more that we're going to have to put up with for a couple of years. In the end, though, the people came to understand his great love, John Cantius' great love for them, and they were very sorry to see him go when he left, when he was called back to the university some 8 years later, when it was realized that the charges had no basis to them. So let's all commit ourselves in these next couple of days of keeping our focus where it ought to be, certainly enjoying all the festivities, but at the same time remembering that the focus is on our God being born into our world, coming to save us.